Why are intros so hard to do? Hi, so today is my September wrap-up video, and I really like doing wrap-up videos because I feel like it provides you the opportunity to talk about actually what books you did read, not just like a TBR, and what you thought about them. And it kind of opens up a dialogue for people to discuss, like, if they liked them too, books that are kind of similar to it, kind of like that discussion situation, you know what I'm saying? These are the 7 books that I read during the month of September, and yeah, let's just get to talking about them. First book I read this month was His and Hers by Alice Feeney. This one is about a murder that happens in a small British village called Blackdown, where a news reporter called Anna Andrews, she has to cover the murder case, essentially. And so the head reporter, his name's Jack. He's actually the head detective, my bad. He is kind of suspicious of Anna's involvement in the murder because there's a lot of like circumstantial incidents that happen that kind of revolve around her and her connection, or should I say seemingly connection, to the murder. So he becomes suspicious of her, but then Jack himself, the head detective, becomes a murder suspect. So I really wanted to give this one 4 stars because while I was reading it, it was one of those books that I really couldn't put down, and whenever I did have to put it down, you know, life, I really could not wait to go back and start reading it again. So I really wanted to give it 4 stars. The reading was pretty enjoyable. I really was looking forward to going back and reading it. I wanted to know what happened. But the thing that I really didn't like about it was the plot twist, which when you're reading a thriller, you're all about the plot twist. Like, I want to know, like, shock me, you know what I mean? So when I was reading this, the ending, there was like a plot twist, but then the author almost wanted to trick you out of thinking that that was the actual plot twist, like giving you a fake plot twist and then giving you the actual plot twist. And that kind of felt to me like almost grasping for straws for what was supposed to be like a big shock. I would have been okay with just the original plot twist, but you know, I didn't write this book. But I did think overall it was enjoyable. I would recommend it if you want. It's kind of, I really like the setting. It made me feel kind of like I was in like a little British village. Like the way that she wrote that, I really enjoyed. The only thing I didn't like about it was the ending, to be honest. Next one I read during the month of September, The Last Time I Lied by Riley Sager. So this one's about Emma Davis. She is an up-and-coming artist in the New York art scene. And 15 years ago, or 11 years ago, something like that, she attended this summer camp where she was cabin mates with these 3 other girls. They end up going missing while they're at summer camp together, and she's the last one that sees them alive. Which I guess no bodies were ever found, so they kind of just disappeared. So she was the last one to see them, basically, before they disappeared. You know, this time passes, she's an up-and-coming artist, like I said, and then the old camp director, she approaches Emma and is like, I want you to be our art counselor, we're going to reopen summer camp. So Emma, obviously reluctant to go back to the summer camp, she decides, you know, this might offer me the closure that I've been looking for, because in a lot of her art pieces, they have been kind of revolving around the girls that disappeared. And when Emma arrives to the summer camp again, a lot of weird things start happening, you know, like they put a camera outside of her cabin, which coincidentally ends up being the same cabin she stayed in all those years before when those girls went missing. And so a lot of weird things start happening to her, and she kind of is coming across as being dangerous, and the people that are at the summer camp and running the summer camp, the family there, they're kind of suspicious of her involvement, right? And Emma ends up finding some clues in the cabin and from one of the previous girls that end up went missing, and she starts uncovering some sort of secrets that the camp is hiding. Emma has to fight not only man but also nature in this book, and that's something that I really liked because the atmosphere in this was insane. Riley Sager really did a good job writing the atmosphere, you know, the camp, the lake, everything like that. I really enjoyed that about this book. The only thing I didn't like was the ending, and I don't want to sound like a broken record because I feel like a lot of these books, the ending just really disappointed me, but how this book resolved itself I wasn't really a big fan of. I thought it could have went in like a lot of different directions, and I get what Riley was trying to do, and I think they did it well overall, but something about it for me just didn't really like click as much as I really wanted it to. And I don't know if that's just me. I mean, I really enjoyed this. I would recommend reading this because this was, like I said, really good. It's just the ending for me didn't really do it, but you know, that happens. So next one, The Last Mrs. Parrish by Liv Constantine. This one, I really enjoyed this. I'm not gonna lie. This one, I didn't really have high hopes for it. I've heard a lot of good things about it, but honestly, I didn't really have that many high hopes for it. I was reading what it was about, and I was kind of like, you know, it sounds like okay. Not the typical thrillers that I normally read, but you know what? I ended up really, really enjoying this. And this one is about Amber Patterson, and she is tired of being irrelevant, a nobody who blends into the background. She's tired of being poor. And so she sets her sights on the Parrish family, consisting of Jackson, Daphne, and their 2 kids, and she decides that she wants to take over Daphne's life. And to achieve this goal, she decides to insert herself into the family. And so she kind of becomes closer with Daphne. She starts hanging out around Jackson a little bit more, and that's pretty much all I can say without giving anything else away. This is one of those books that I really need to talk about it, and I really am gonna need to spoil it, okay? So I'm gonna put on the screen here, I will put where to skip to, and I'll also put it in the description below. So if you just want to click on it, skip to where the non-spoilers are, I'll just put that there. But, you know, I need to spoil it. So, spoiler alert, this one actually shocked me. And the reason I say that is because this whole time that I'm reading it, and the whole time that Amber is putting the moves on Jackson, trying, like, girl, you literally bought the same perfume, like, but this whole time I was like, Daphne, there's no way Daphne can be this dense. Like this whole time Daphne is kind of like nonchalant about it. You know, she's like, I don't care if you do that, like whatever, like with her mans, like, and this whole time I'm like, there's no way that Daphne cannot see that anything is happening. Like, come on. And the reason that I was so shocked is because this whole time Daphne was the one who was really wanting Amber to take over her place, and I was shook because Jackson turns out to be a piece of when we find out the twist that Jackson is actually an abusive, that blew my mind. And I was like, Daphne, I'm so sorry I ever doubted you, girl. Like, I'm so, like, that was my bad. But I just had to tell you guys exactly why that shocked me, because I mean, if you guys have read this book and if that shocked you too, please let me know, because I really did not see that coming at all. Like, I was blindsided. I was bamboozled. I also really like the cover on this one, so I don't know what it is. I'm just like really into covers lately. I ended up giving this one 4 stars. Next one I read, The Hunting Party by Lucy Foley. This one is about a group of friends that they've been friends since college. They decide to go on their like annual trip together during New Year's one year, and they go into this remote like Scottish wilderness situation. And honestly, this one, it doesn't stand out to me, you know what I mean? The other one, The Guest List by Lucy Foley, I would recommend you read that one before reading this one. I thought The Guest List was better than this one. This one was kind of like The Guest List's like younger cousin, who kind of has like the same idea, but it's like not like the same. Like, obviously you don't want them to be the same, but it's like the same idea but like different. How am I supposed to describe this? They were very similar to me. You know, they were like reading the same thing in different fonts. You know what I mean? Like, that's how I felt about it. But yeah, this one just felt like reading The Guest List, but in a different setting. Like, major deja vu reading this. I don't know if that's just me, but, you know, it was alright. It was alright. I get, like, with the plot setup, there's only so much you can do with it. But at the same time, I just, like, nothing... I ended up giving it 2 stars. Next one I read, If He Had Been With Me by Laura Nowlin. Honestly, I read this kind of out of guilt because one of the last videos I put out, I kind of like blew this one off a little bit. And I did not like it. So this one is about 2 friends. I want to say her name's Autumn. Is it Autumn? I don't know. Honestly, like, I'm looking through it and I can't see like her name in here. I want to say it's Autumn, right? Literally, I'm seeing everybody's name besides hers. Anyway, I want to say it's Autumn. Autumn and Feeney, they are childhood friends that kind of grow apart over the years, and we kind of watch them, specifically the main character, have friendships, relationships with other people, and then we see them come back together. And this one was a really easy read. I read it in a night, and my issue with it is that nothing really happens until like you get to 95% of the way done, and then you kind of start to see like the reason for the plot, and then all of a sudden it's just over. And I didn't like that. Like, what did I even read? You know what I mean? Like, there was no plot. Plot was non-existent in this. I just didn't like it, and I don't I just like don't want to get on here and trash talk this book, so that's just gonna be it. Next one I read is Look Woman Missing by Mary Kubica. Maybe Kubica? I don't know. However you say her name, I'm probably saying it wrong, but anyways. So this one actually kind of shocked me as well. My friend had recommended it to me. She said it was really good. She also likes reading thrillers, and this one did not go in the direction that I thought it was going to go in at all. My issue with this one, like the main issue that I have, is the fact that looking back on it, the first part of the book feels like to the rest of the book like you're reading a different book. You know what I mean? Like it feels like the first half was taken from another book and then put together with the remainder of the book to me. Like I don't know if that makes sense, but that's just how it felt to me. This one starts off with a local woman who goes missing in this town, and a little while later a woman, Meredith, and her daughter Delilah, they end up going missing, and that's pretty much the main story of this is Meredith and Delilah. So after they go missing, Delilah ends up eventually being found, and obviously everybody has a bunch of questions about what happened to Meredith. Where is she? Why is her daughter coming back and she's not? But everything is not really as it seems whenever Delilah came back, and we kind of follow a few different perspectives, like a few different POVs, going through exactly the return of Delilah and how that affects like her family and the town. With her return comes a bunch of questions, obviously with what happened to Meredith, and to those, nobody's really ready for the answers. So yeah, this one did not go in the direction I thought it was going to go in at all. Which it's not a bad thing that it did that. The thing that I really just found an issue with in this book was that the plot twist, like there's like a plot twist, and then there's also another one of those like additional plot twists, and that to me seemed very unrealistic. And I get that this is a work of fiction, but at the same time, like, when is this ever gonna happen? Like, all of it was very coincidental to me, and I don't really know what else to say without really spoiling it. So you know what I'm gonna do? Spoil it. Again, on the screen here and in the description box will be the timestamps to skip to if you don't want to see any spoilers for this book. So honestly, this book was one of those books where I like forgot about it after 20 minutes. So I'm just going to refer back to my Goodreads, and because I know I put spoilers in there, and I also did tag that as spoilers. So I'm not trying to be one of those people on Goodreads who just put spoilers out there willy-nilly. I don't want to spoil it for anybody, but you know, I put my thoughts in here so I wouldn't forget them, which I clearly did. So that's why I'm referring back to this. So certain things that did bother me. Marty, it was suggested that Marty was having an affair, right? And nothing really came of that. But then Shelby, it turns out that she had a different baby daddy than who we thought it was. And so part of me was like, is Marty supposed to be the baby daddy? Like, did I just skip a part where they like confirmed something else? Did I miss this? I don't know what's going on. That was kind of never talked about again. So that was kind of an issue that I had. Another one was, obviously Leo had PTSD in regards to seeing Charlotte's house. Like, was that because of the toy box whenever he got locked in there and stuff, or is there something else that I was missing? Nothing really was touched on about that again. So also the police work in this, bro. Like, obviously besides the Carmen DNA mess, which, girl, she would literally get fired so quickly. In what life would that ever happen? Like, in what? No, like, come on, bro. I'm pretty sure the autopsies would have shown a different cause of death. Like, am I mistaken? Like, obviously if you get hit by a car, you're gonna have injuries that are consistent with being hit by a car. That was another issue. And I also just want to point out, also that was a weak ass suicide note. We just won't even step into that. But the fact that, the thing that I did want to point out is that B is honestly just dumb. Come on. You're really just gonna keep a girl in like this little attic space for the rest of her life? Like, anyways, would I recommend it? And the last one that I read for September is going to be No Bad Deed by Heather Chavez. And this one is about a character, Cassie Larkin, who is driving home one day from work, and she sees a domestic altercation happening on the side of the road. And so she decides, let me pull over and call 911. And then she makes the foolish decision to get out and try to, I don't know what she expected to do, like handle the situation. I don't know. But anyways, she intervenes, putting herself in danger, and the man who is beating up this woman, he basically says to Cassie, if you let her die, I'll let you live. And guess what Cassie does? not that. So obviously she intervened, and then she, you know, goes about her life, I guess, as well as you could after seeing that. And then a lot of weird things start happening to her. Eventually her husband goes missing, and it's this whole situation. And the thing that I disliked about this most was the plot twist. And I know I've been, like, looking back, I feel like I've been really hard on all these books that I read, but this plot twist was not it. It was way too coincidental. Like, I just feel like the author relied too much on, like, the author almost wanted a lot of, like, a shock factor that she sacrificed, what's the word? Logic. And just all of this just seemed, like, really unrealistic to me. And I know it's not like I'm reading, like, nonfiction or anything. I know these are works of fiction. But at the same time, I feel like there's only so much that you can expect a reader to believe. You know what I mean? Anyways, I ended up giving this one 2 stars. So yeah, that was my reading of this month. I feel like, you know, I didn't really have a great reading month. Like, I read more than I did in August, but a lot of the books were kind of just for me. Except The Last Mrs. Parrish. Come on, I love that book. Anyways, thank you for watching. If you liked any of these or disliked any of them, have any thoughts, please let me know down below, because I really do want to talk about it with someone. And here's Georgia again. She's very camera shy, which is a shame because I really wanted her to be a cat model, but anyways, yeah, thank you for watching, and I will see you next time.